Hulu has a brand new movie coming out this week, starring the likes of Ana de Armas and Ben Affleck. What an amazing cast that is. It was supposed to be in theaters, so it's starting to worry me a little bit. But hey, it's from the director of Fatal Attraction, so this has to be amazing. Oh, it's actually really frustrating, entertaining, and kind of boring. Ah man, I got a lot of thoughts on this one. What's going on, buddy? Welcome back to a brand new movie review. Today we're going to be discussing Deep Water. This stars again the likes of Ben Affleck and Ana de Armas, and it is about a well-to-do husband who allows his wife to have affairs in order to avoid a divorce, but now he becomes a prime suspect in the disappearance of all her other lovers. Now, that concept sells me. You get the director from Fatal Attraction, who I haven't really liked anything that he's done lately. He also hasn't directed a movie in like almost 20 years, but you know, it's Fatal Attraction. That's a very much kind of a classic movie, but it's also one that is kind of cheesy at the same time, but enjoyable. And I was hoping to kind of get the same thing out of Deep Water. And like, there are moments in this movie where I'm so entertained by the entire thing. And then there are moments of lull where I'm frustrated with the characters. And I know it's supposed to frustrate you because this is a very toxic relationship, but I'm also frustrated with some of the directing choices and just in general some of the story beats. And then in the end, I overall just become bored by it because it's repetitive in all those natures. So this is a very like mixed bag of a movie for me, where I think for my pros wise, Ben Affleck and Ana de Armas we're going to discuss a lot about. I think they're both great, but it really is a movie that I'm really interested to see what you all think. So make sure, guys, to leave a comment if you're excited for Deep Water. Have you even heard about this movie? Are you excited about it? Let's discuss it all down there, as well as making sure to hit that like and subscribe button so we can keep talking movies and TV over here on a daily basis. I love movies, and this is like my favorite bread and butter to talk about every single day. So if you're here watching, I appreciate you, and I can't wait to talk more movies with you down below and in the future. So again, let's talk about my big pros, and that is Ben Affleck and Ana de Armas. As much as I hated Ana de Armas' character in here, which you will hear that come up again, she was great. I mean, she is absolutely one of the best actresses working right now, and I adore her in every piece of content she comes out in. Movie, TV, doesn't matter. I love seeing her in everything. She is such an amazing actress, and she always has this light to her that really shines a movie up, especially showing how much I hated her character in here, which I understand that was the point, but I hated her character so much in here, but I still loved her as a performer, and I think she was great. Ben as well is fantastic. I think Ben Affleck has really much grown as an actor over the last 15 years, and I think in this movie, you truly see that showcased in here, and their relationship is very interesting. I wouldn't say that they had the best chemistry, but I think that was the point, is the fact is, they're both a very toxic relationship, and while this is probably the most toxic relationship you'll ever see in a family, you are entertained by that toxicity. What that says about me, but I just sat there and it was something that you could throw popcorn in your face and watch certain moments in between them where it's like, how is this even happening right now? I'll also say this is Ben does a really good job of showing that jealousy nature, but hiding it in a very subdued and subtle manner that I think is really hard for a lot of actors to showcase. And in the way that he is showcasing it is very great. And also some of the psychological aspects that Ana de Armas has in here, of course, cheating on him and her knowing he sees this, but when he maybe goes to flirt with one other girl, she flips the fuck out. There are psychological things in there that I really dug with their performances, and again, they are the two shining lights of this movie. I think that's where it kind of just goes, is that this is a movie that, while again, I was frustrated by, and we'll talk about that, it's a guilty pleasure in some of those avenues because I had fun with how stupid some of the concept is. The entire third act kind of goes way off the rails, even though I loved the ending. And I actually read that the book this is based off, the ending is like very different, and I feel like the book's ending does not make sense in the context of the story. But in this movie, the way that it ends makes you think right back to the intro, and it's like, oh shit, that's actually like really clever. Again, that's actually the part that won me over from going pretty negative on this movie, was the ending. While I have issues all throughout the story, and I do feel like it probably could have been shortened up or changed up a little bit here and there, I loved what they did with that ending. And again, the way that it makes me rethink to everything else that happened in the movie, at least in the more serious bits of it all. Let's start diverting over to my mixed elements, and a lot of this goes down to the characters' motives. Now, it's not just between Ben and Ana. There's a couple other characters in here that do have certain motives that make me just a little bit interested. I understand why they were doing it, but for me, it just never really hooked me in. The one character, though, that for me was very, very frustrating, like I mentioned, was Ana. And she's very hard to follow through here, and at times is such an unbearable character that it made me want to scream at the fucking screen. I really mean that. I was so frustrated watching her character at times that I was absolutely actually getting pissed off for Ben's character, because I've been in that place where, you know, I might not have known that I was being cheated on, but I have been cheated on, and it fucking sucks, man. And this movie maybe brought back those feelings of jealousy and hurt and pain, and I know what Ben was going through, even though I would never go through with attempting to maybe kill someone or hurt them or threaten them. It sucks. And seeing his pain in his like face, and again, this is why Ben's performance is so good, but Ana's character was just almost unbearable, where at times they tried to make us like her, and I just never really got to that point. That's from my perspective as a male, so I'm really interested again to hear your guys' thoughts if you have a different perspective on that. But again, very, very frustrating at times, to the point where I wanted to scream at the screen. But that's where it comes down to like a guilty pleasure. Other people might not feel that way. They might be entertained from the reasoning of them screaming at the screen. Another mixed concept is Adrian Lyne, who directed this movie. And again, did a wonderful job with Fatal Attraction, but I feel like here the lost is not there. There's a direction style in here that it's fine, but it doesn't keep you engaged fully in it. And I just found myself kind of dozing off, getting a little bored here and there, and I'm wondering if a better director could have handled some of the tones in here. One of the writers of this is Sam Levinson. Yes, the guy who has done Malcolm and Marie and Euphoria. And depending on who you are, you might be like, oh, that would be a great choice to direct this. And I actually would have preferred that. Now, again, I love Euphoria and I really liked Malcolm and Marie. It is not for everyone. I totally understand that. But even if it's not him, there are countless other directors I would have liked to see their hand in this. And really much, I think it maybe would have helped the entire film. So again, where my mixed elements, and kind of ending out this review on my cons, is the frustration that I did have from the toxicity. I mentioned in my mix because some people are either going to like that or not. For me, it was a big frustration element of it all. And just as enjoyable at times as it is, there are certain moments in here where I was just like, really? And a lot of the movie is repetitive. It's like if one lover, you know, happens to go away and like because Ben maybe have threatened them, another lover comes in. And it's the same cycle and repeat. Same cycle and repeat. With maybe little changes here and there, but it's the same cycle and repeat. I would have liked them to have maybe done 3 lovers, I don't know, and then on the third one it gets a little bit more serious, and that's where certain things start to finally unfold. I think it would have been a little bit stronger in there, but again, in this, it just became repetitive, obvious, and honestly just downright kind of boring by the last lover. By the last one, I was like, okay, well, I know where this is going. At the same time, a lot of the tones are certainly clashing. At times it wants to be this big dramatic thriller, and at others it wants to be this cheesy, overly weird and tonally mishappen, and these tones are just banging at each other and not working. As a seductive thriller as this was supposed to be, sure, there's some sexy and hot scenes in here, but for me, those tones just really didn't mix, and I personally would have preferred a more dramatic take to this all. I actually do believe that when that dramatic element is going forward, it works heavier. And I'll even emphasize this, I think Deepwater would have worked better as a mini-series than a movie. It does rush through a lot of different things that I think should have been emphasized and dove into a little bit better, and I think that's where it maybe would have made Ana's character maybe relatable, but actually like an emotional person that you could actually latch onto. And Ben's character, while it gets the most development in this movie for what it is, I would have liked to see a little bit before a lot of this started happening, maybe the early parts of their marriage. There's a lot in this movie that's not explored that I feel like was missing out. And again, book fans might be saying, well, that's how the book was. But it doesn't have to be just a book. An adaptation can grow on the material it already had and get better. I already kind of mentioned it. The third act kind of goes off the rails. There's literally a part where a man is chasing someone on a bike on a car, and it's dumb. It's stupid. I didn't hate Deepwater, but I absolutely became pretty frustrated by it. It's a really great concept that's just not executed well. There's a lot into it where I'm like, okay, well, if you would have developed this a little bit more, maybe made it into a miniseries, it possibly could have been more entertaining and absolutely more an emotional dive. But it's not. Ana's character is absolutely frustrating, and the toxicity between this family is really bad. But at times it's entertaining, and I found myself actually pretty intertwined within the first act, but the movie started to lose me as it went into its second and third. But I will say that the ending of this film is great, and I think cinephiles will more appreciate it than general audiences will. See that as much as I was not liking the third act, the way that the movie ended, I went, holy shit, that's a great ending. Just wish I would have had more from this movie. It again became a frustrating deep dive into a toxic relationship and a mysterious thriller that again has seductive and hot moments to it all, and Ben and Ana are great in it, but the story and the direction that they were wrapped around in it was not for me. There will be an audience for this that will find it to be the most entertaining piece that they've seen in 2022, but for me, I just sat there going, this was just fine, and it should have been better. Deepwater is not a great movie. It's not a good movie. It's just fine, frustrating, entertaining for sure at times, but also pretty boring. And that's why I'm going to give Deepwater a C-. I really wanted to like this one. I was pretty excited going into it. Popped it on. I was excited to watch the screener, and then I just walked away and I was like, damn, that should have been better. But other than that, guys, thank you so much again for watching this. You guys are really all the best. Leave your guys' thoughts, comments down below. Hit that like and subscribe button. If you're interested in seeing movies early and getting giveaways, head on over to Sandwich Fun Films as well down there. It's a great site, and they're the ones that present these videos. So thank you so much again to them. And of course, until next time, stay classy.